Hey, what is up, Army? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we cover everything Jimin, and trust me, you do not want to miss what we are about to talk about today. Because today, we are talking about something that happened very recently, something that, honestly, every single Jimin fan needs to know about. A full-page reward advertisement celebrating Jimin appeared in JiminIlbo, one of the most widely circulated national newspapers in South Korea. And the reason? Jimin won first place in the Bug's favorite, Best Idol Dancer voting, the category that recognizes the best main dancer among all active K-pop idols. Fans pooled their money together, designed the ad, and made sure the world saw it printed in black and white in one of Korea's most prestigious publications. But here's the thing. This is not just about one newspaper ad. This is not just about one vote. This is about a pattern, a consistent, undeniable, years-long pattern of recognition that keeps pointing to the same name, the same person, over and over again. And that name is ParkJimin. So let us talk about all of it. Let us go all the way back to where it started, trace how he got here, and understand why in 2026, Jimin is not just the best dancer in BTS, he is widely regarded as the greatest dancer in K-pop history. And we are going to back every single word of that up with facts. Before we get into it, if you enjoy deep dive content like this, do me a favor right now. Like this video. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it tells YouTube that Jimin content is worth pushing to more people. And drop a comment below telling me which city you are watching from, because I know ARMY is absolutely everywhere. Okay, let us get into it. Let's start with the newspaper ad, because that is what sparked today's conversation. The image that has been circulating online shows a stunning full-page advertisement in JiminIlbo. For those who do not know, JiminIlbo is not some small local paper. It is one of the top 3 most influential newspapers in all of South Korea, with a massive national readership. Having your face on a full page in that publication is a genuinely big deal. And Jimin's fans made it happen. The ad features a black and white portrait of Jimin, moody, artistic, completely breathtaking, with the words, Main Dancer Jimin, printed prominently across the page. And the detail that made ARMY completely lose their minds? The fans chose to include lyrics from Swim, Jimin's track from the Arirang album. The lyrics printed on that page read, Swim, swim/water falling off your skin / I could spend a lifetime watching you. And further down the page, I just want to dive. Stop and think about that for a second. Out of all the lyrics they could have chosen from the entire Arirang album, ARMY picked lines about watching someone with such awe that you could spend a lifetime doing nothing else. They used that song to describe how they feel watching Jimin dance. And honestly, that is exactly it. Because if you have ever watched Jimin perform live, if you have ever seen a full fan cam of him on stage during this Arirang World Tour, you understand immediately what those lyrics mean when applied to his dancing. You just want to stay in that moment forever. This is not the first time fans have created elaborate, expensive projects to celebrate Jimin's dancing legacy. But this one hits differently because it comes during the Arirang World Tour, a moment when the whole world is watching BTS perform live again for the first time in years. And Jimin has been reminding every single person in every single stadium exactly why he has this reputation. Now, the Bug's favorite, Best Idol Dancer, vote is not just any casual fan poll. Bug's Music is a major Korean music streaming platform, and their favorite section runs official artist and category votes that carry real weight in the Korean music industry. When Jimin took first place in the Best Idol Dancer category, it was recognition that came through a legitimate, structured voting system, not something thrown together randomly on some obscure website. And it is worth putting this win in context with everything else happening in 2026. This year alone, Jimin has swept multiple major dance recognition polls. He took first place in the Top 100 Best Male Dancers 2026 voting conducted by Dabeam, the global polling site, making it 8 consecutive years at the top position since 2019. 8 years. Let that sink in. From 2019 all the way through 2026, every single time that vote has been held, the same person has won. Not once did someone else take that crown. Not once did Jimin slip to second place. 8 consecutive years at number 1. And if that is not enough, he also topped the Best Dancer vote on the global voting app Cookie in 2026, earning a total of 2,173,584 votes, with 94% support. 94%. That is not a close race. That is not even a competitive race. That is a complete and total consensus from over 2 million people around the world that when you talk about the best dancer in K-pop, there is really only one name that makes any sense. Billboard, the most iconic music publication in America, once described Jimin as the king of modern dance. Think about that framing for a moment. Not just the best dancer in BTS. Not just the best dancer in K-pop. The king of modern dance. That is the kind of phrase you use for someone who does not just excel within a genre, but who defines a standard within it. And Billboard Korea went a step further, formally recognizing Jimin as a key figure in shaping the K-pop dance legacy across generations, calling him a dance icon in their coverage of how K-pop's choreographic tradition has evolved. But here is what makes Jimin's story genuinely different from other talented dancers who win polls and collect titles. It is not just that people vote for him. It is the reason people vote for him. And to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, to a teenager in Busan who had no idea that one day, millions of people would put his face in a national newspaper and call him the king of modern dance. Jimin was born on October 13, 1995, in Busan, South Korea, and from a very early age, he had a pull toward movement and performance. In middle school, he enrolled at Just Dance Academy, where he trained in popping and locking. But the real turning point came when he entered Busan High School of Arts and chose contemporary dance as his major. He did not just enroll, he became the top student in the modern dance department. He was not just passing classes, he was excelling at the highest level among his peers, to the point where one of his teachers personally encouraged him to audition for an entertainment company because a talent like his deserved a bigger stage than Busan could offer. That single conversation changed everything. Jimin auditioned for Big Hit Entertainment, was accepted, and transferred to Korean Arts High School in Seoul. He had the shortest trainee period among all the BTS members before debut, just 6 months. And that fact is remarkable, because the K-pop style of dance is completely different from the contemporary dance background that Jimin had spent years developing. Sharp group synchronization, high-energy idol choreography, performance blocking for massive stadium stages, this was a completely new movement vocabulary. He had to adapt from the ground up, all while practicing late into the night, sleeping in the studio, waking up and going straight to class, then coming back and doing it all again. What emerged from that process was not just a K-pop idol who could hit formations and keep up with the group. What emerged was something the Korean music industry had never quite seen before. A performer who brought the emotional depth and physical specificity of contemporary dance into the world of K-pop and fused it with the power, charisma, and precision that idol performance demands. Critics and industry observers started calling it the Jimin genre, a stage presence so singular, so uniquely his own, that it simply cannot be categorized or replicated by anyone else. When you watch him perform, you're not watching K-pop choreography. You are watching Jimin. Those are not the same thing. Dance professor Oh Joo-yeon, in an interview covered by Jungkook Ilbo, mentioned Jimin alongside Chinese Taemin as one of the outstanding dancers in K-pop, describing the rare quality of performers who possess what she called condensed charisma, charm, and stardom that fills a large stage on its own. She noted that anyone can learn dance moves and perform them, but only a very small number of performers have that ineffable quality that transforms technique into art. Jimin is one of them, and she made that observation in a national newspaper, not on a fan account. Music critic Lim Ji-mal once said, and this is something that ARMY has never forgotten, that when Jimin dances, it seems like he is not a human being. And if you have ever watched even 10 seconds of a Jimin fan cam from the right angle, you know exactly what that means. This is not a critic being hyperbolic for effect. This is someone who has spent their career watching performers, saying that Jimin operates at a level that genuinely does not feel like it belongs to the same category as ordinary human movement. This is the foundation. This is the story beneath the votes, and the polls, and the newspaper ads. It is not hype. It is not manufactured fandom loyalty. It is recognition of something genuinely extraordinary that has been growing since a teenager in Busan chose contemporary dance as his calling and never stopped. Now I want to take a moment here, because I think it is worth being specific about what 8 consecutive years at #1 actually means in the real world, because when we hear stats like that, they can start to feel abstract. So let us make it concrete. Think about how much the K-pop industry has changed since 2019. The number of groups that have debuted, the number of fourth-generation dancers who have come up and built massive global followings, the artists who have been celebrated for their dancing, called the best of their generation, earned industry recognition. And through all of that, through every new group, every new dancer, every viral choreography video, every new wave of talent, when millions of people around the world are asked who the best male dancer in K-pop is, the same answer comes back. Every single time. ParkJimin. That is not a fluke. That is not the result of one particularly good year or one particularly memorable performance. That is the result of a sustained, decade-long commitment to excellence that has not wavered once. Even during his mandatory military service, when Jimin was not releasing music, not performing, not appearing in choreography videos, he was still winning these polls. The reputation he built was so solid, so deeply embedded in the collective memory of K-pop fans worldwide, that it carried itself even in his absence. And now that he is back, performing every night on one of the biggest stadium tours in the world, that reputation is not just being maintained. It is being expanded. It is reaching new audiences. It is turning casual concertgoers into dedicated fans who go home and immediately start searching for every fancam they can find. Now let us bring it fully to the Arirang World Tour, because what has been happening on this tour deserves its own dedicated conversation. When BTS kicked off the North American leg of the Arirang World Tour at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, in late April 2026, Jimin arrived on stage and set the internet on fire from the very first song. But what fancams captured throughout those Tampa shows went far beyond visuals and energy. During the first Tampa show, there was a choreography-free performance section, and Jimin improvised a freestyle that immediately went viral. Fancam clips surpassed millions of views within hours. This moment matters specifically because freestyle is where you see who a performer truly is. There is no choreography to fall back on, no formation to stay in. It is just the music in your body and the instincts you have built through years of dedicated practice. What Jimin showed in Tampa was a dancer whose movement instincts are so deeply embedded that he can create something genuinely beautiful with zero preparation and zero script. That does not come from rehearsal. That comes from a foundation built over more than a decade. On the second Tampa show, BTS brought out Pied Piper as a surprise song, one of the most beloved deep cuts in their discography, and Jimin delivered what fans are already calling one of the standout performances of the whole tour. His body roll choreography during Pied Piper had the entire stadium screaming, and the fancam footage of that moment has been shared tens of thousands of times across social media. People who had never heard of Pied Piper were suddenly searching for it, pulling up old performance videos, going deep into the BTS rabbit hole, all because of what Jimin did in a single Tampa night. Then came Stanford. At Stanford Stadium in California in May, BTS performed Blood, Sweat, and Tears as a surprise song, a track not performed live in years, and whose choreography is considered some of the most technically and emotionally demanding in BTS's entire catalog. The fancams of Jimin during Blood, Sweat, and Tears at Stanford immediately went viral on TikTok, with people describing it in language you do not usually hear applied to K-pop concerts. The control, the intention behind every movement, the way he physically inhabits the song, it was a masterclass. And it was exactly what you would expect from someone who spent his formative years at the top of his class in a serious modern dance program. Billboard's coverage of the Arirang North American leg specifically noted the elegance that Jimin brings to the stage, describing how even in songs with more restrained choreography, he commands attention through the quality and intention of his movement. They called it a distinct elegance, and that phrase captures something real. There is a refinement in the way Jimin moves that sets him apart even within a group of extraordinary performers. Every movement has a reason. Every transition has intention. Nothing is wasted. Now let us talk for a moment about what it actually means to be called a king in the context of dance, because that word gets used a lot in fan spaces, and I want to be clear about why it genuinely applies here. There is a fundamental difference between being a very good dancer and being someone who changes how people understand what dance can be in a pop music context. There are many technically excellent dancers in K-pop, idols who execute choreography with precision, who hit formations cleanly, who look polished in group numbers. That is a high bar, and plenty of talented artists clear it. But Jimin operates at a completely different level. It has to do with something that is genuinely difficult to teach or manufacture. The ability to make every single movement feel like it is coming from somewhere real, from inside the performance, rather than on top of it. He does not dance to the beat. He dances to the meaning. And that is a distinction that very few performers in any genre can honestly claim. Think about what that means in the context of a BTS concert. 7 members, all performing the same choreography at the same time. Same formations, same counts, same stage. And yet, every fancam editor knows you can point a camera directly at Jimin and watch an entirely different artistic experience. Not because he is doing different moves, but because of the quality of attention and intention he brings to every shared movement. That is what Bug's favorite recognized. That is what 2.1 million Kooky voters have been saying. That is what JiminBTS voters have confirmed for 8 consecutive years. Not just technical skill and not just fanbase size, the actual, artistic quality that separates a great dancer from one who makes you stop everything and just watch. The Jungkook elbow ad captures something important on one more level too. The fact that this reward ad is running right now, during the Arirang World Tour, is not incidental. ARMY chose this moment deliberately. This is the first time in years that the world has been watching Jimin perform on stadium stages night after night. And ARMY looked at what was happening on those stages, the freestyles, the Pied Piper body roll in Tampa, the blood, sweat, and tears fancams from Stanford, and they said, the world needs to see this acknowledged. In print, in Korea's most respected national newspaper. Right now, while it is happening, that is not just fandom energy, that is documentation. That is ARMY writing history in a form that cannot be scrolled past. And given 8 years at #1, 2 million votes, Billboard, dance professors, and music critics all pointing to the same name, they are not wrong to do it. The lyrics on that Jungkook elbow ad say everything that needs to be said. I could spend a lifetime watching you. For millions of ARMY around the world, that is not poetic exaggeration. It is just the truth. Before I wrap this up, I want to hear from you in the comments right now. Did you attend any of the Arirang World Tour shows? Tell me which city and what your most memorable Jimin moment from that night was. And if you have been following the tour through fan cams and coverage online, which Jimin performance has hit you the hardest so far? Drop it below. I read every single one. If you are new here and this is your first time on the channel, welcome. We do deep dives and full breakdowns on everything Jimin consistently. Hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next video. Like this video if you enjoyed it. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely makes a difference for the channel. Share it with another ARMY who needs to see this today. And I will catch you in the next one.